Hey everyone, and welcome to PGN Live. It is Thursday, March 5th, 2026. Let's go. We've got a cool couple of things to talk about today. First up, it's our usual Thursday morning stream or Thursday afternoon stream, wherever you are. But that means we've got Famitsu sales to talk about, and it's a big one because Resident Evil Requiem came out last week worldwide, which means now we know how it's sold in Japan, as well as hardware and other software sales in Japan for that matter. But we also got an update officially from Capcom in regards to, well, just how well did Resident Evil do globally. And there's no one better to ask than Capcom themselves on that, right? So that's pretty cool. We also have Pokemon Pokopia out now on Nintendo Switch 2, and we discussed a little bit about it the other day, how it's selling well. I mean, not selling well, it's reviewing well, right? Pretty cool to see. Sales-wise, I'm very curious to see how this one turns out, but if the reviews are anything to go off of, that plus Pokemon popularity and mixed with what other genres the game is kind of emulating, it might be a very big seller. 10 million. That would be my target, right? Let's see who's here, though. We've got the pop-out chat ready to roll. And first up, Byzantium is here saying Happy PGN Live. Corey Boehm with a Paul. Happy Pokopia Day. Yvonne Francois. Hi, everyone. Paladin says, good morning, Paul. Good morning. Majin Poo, Resident Evil sold 5 million? That's a lot. They probably sold even more by now. Yes, indeed. It is a lot. Now, it was made available on everything. You know, you've got Nintendo Switch 2, hot new system, PlayStation 5, 90 million units out there, Xbox Series, S and X. We don't know the exact number, but, you know, it's tens of millions. And PC. So that's a pretty good variety. I mean, you covered all your bases, you know, as Capcom. You didn't have some kind of staggered release. That's the way to do it. You know, that's an even better release than Monster Hunter World. Yeah. I mean, Monster Hunter World, don't get me wrong, sold more, but it didn't also release on Nintendo Switch at the time. Whereas this game has a bigger breadth of platforms that is available from the get-go. Or like Monster Hunter Rise was Nintendo Switch only and then came to, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. So this type of global release and on all major units really lends to, yeah, proper big opening weekend's worth of sales. For a mature rated game too, keep in mind. You already cut off a certain amount of people who could buy it, play it, because they're not 17 years old. Or, yeah, because of the horror nature, it might not even be for all adults, you know? So I'm pretty happy. Which console do you think did the best with performance? PS5, Switch 2, PC, or Xbox? Resident Evil performance in terms of sales? PlayStation 5. I just know that, actually. Well, yeah, I know that. We'll look at the Japanese data, and you could see that unless the digital is crazy different, which it's not going to be, it looks like in Japan, 80% of the total Resident Evil 5 sales went to PS5. 20% went to Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, there's a chance that, like, those numbers are a little bit different, like 79.5, 19.5, and Xbox with 1, right? But from the sales report that we have from Famitsu, from physical sales in the top 10, we could see that, yeah, 20% Nintendo Switch 2, 80% PlayStation 5. I meant Resident Evil Requiem. Yeah. Now, if you mean performance, like in terms of how well the game is performing on the platform. Well, also probably like PlayStation 5 Pro, maybe PC, depends on the PC, right? I'm loving the game on Nintendo Switch 2, though. I am so pleased. I am so happy with it. You see, certain games during the Nintendo Switch era, you could play with no compromise, no difference in parity, really, and be fine with it. Like, mm, Doom, yeah, looked a little bit sharper, but I had Doom 2016 running on my Xbox One X and my Nintendo Switch back and forth. It was quite a comparable experience. I don't think that you got a different game or it was drastically worse or anything like that if you got it on Nintendo Switch. Dragon Ball Fighters, the same game on Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, pretty much the same game, a little bit higher visual fidelity until they came out with like a PS5 Xbox Series patch. Hades, equal parity, you know? But there are certain games like, oh, there were two different SKUs made, like Mortal Kombat 11. It was a substantially different looking game on other platforms than Nintendo Switch. Mortal Kombat 1, okay, same game, story, all that kind of stuff, but it was a very different look. Hogwarts Legacy, a different look. Nintendo Switch 2, nothing so far is a very different look. You look at the WWE, you look at the Madden, Assassin's Creed, Hades 2 is a console exclusive. You look at Star Wars Outlaws, now Resident Evil Requiem. It's like the best Nintendo Switch examples for everything. And maybe even a little bit better, Street Fighter 6, like, dude, just Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, just everything is so close that it's almost like the PS2 versus GameCube Xbox generation, where, yeah, these two look a bit better, but you're looking at Soul Calibur on PS2 looking pretty close to the GameCube Xbox ones, even though those two look a little bit better, And that's kind of like where Nintendo Switch 2 is at, where, yeah, they look a little bit better on other systems, but, dude, it's still the only console that you could take, boop, out of the dock, take it on the go, play portably, and, of course, the Nintendo Switch backwards compatibility and Nintendo's exclusive IP. Fantastic system. Excellent way how to play Resident Evil Requiem. I'm not feeling that I'm making a sacrifice where, like, oh man, yeah, I'm playing this and it's cool to take it portably, but boy, sometimes I wish I could be looking at it a little bit better or a lot bit better. No, instead I know, yeah, I could be looking at it a little bit better, but it's so freaking good that I'm happy with where I'm at, I was so happy with Split Fiction several months ago with how it looked and performed, played on NS2, that I didn't even care, like, how much better did it look? A little bit, maybe? On PS5 or Xbox Series? Because, yeah, I was able to play in tabletop mode with my wife in bed that game as well as on the TV docked, right? So, yeah. SK Massive PS2 games didn't look better than GameCube counterparts. Absolutely, correct. I was referring to Nintendo Switch 2 being comparable to PS2, with PS5 and Xbox Series X being like the GameCube and Xbox. You know what I mean? Where they were so comparable. Did Splinter Cell and Prince of Persia look better on GameCube and Xbox than they did on PS2? Yes, but they weren't two totally different SKUs, And that's kind of like this. Nintendo Switch 2, yeah, it looks pretty darn close to PS5, Xbox Series X, but nobody's really caring. You'll see some trolls online care, but now it's just a good system. Okay, you got the comment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll see. Malachi Johnson or Malachi Johnson with the Famitsu sales. Switch to only selling 38,000. What do you think the total is? Do you think it hit 500,000 total sales so far? Well, we know it hit 5 million worldwide. That we do know. So you can see that Japan with Resident Evil, it doesn't make up for a tremendous percentage. We'll go into that too a little bit more. Janie Harris, yo Paul, what's up? It's Matthew. I'm just dropping to say hi, Matthew. Welcome, welcome. John Doe Juggalo, hey Paul, hope you're doing well today. Thank you. Hope you're doing well too. T Fernbach. I started playing RE9 today on my Switch 2, and it's straight up sorcery what Capcom accomplished there. It's a high bar from now on for all third parties. SK Massive? I don't know if it's still on sale or if you like this type of game, but I really gotta recommend try out Street Fighter 6. Sometimes it drops to whatchamacallit. Sometimes it drops down to $20 on the eShop. It's a fantastic game. Totally worth more. But if you see the opportunity show up again to get Street Fighter 6 for $20, I bet you'll walk away pretty impressed with the game's graphics, the fluidity, the resolution, the amount of characters, the particle effects, the super moves. It's got a good amount of characters, alternate costumes, things that you could buy to make it more fun, like more characters, more stages, a world tour mode, which is a quasi RPG action adventure kind of game with still primarily 2D based fighting mechanics behind it, but super good. Another impressive game on Nintendo Switch 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Pragmata on Switch 2 performs graphically similar to RE9 on Switch 2. I mean, yeah, like the demo was really fun for Pragmata, and gosh dang it looked good. It looked nice and it ran smoothly. Boy. Even more so than last generation, Nintendo is the lead platform to buy. I think for most people out there. I think if you grew up in a PlayStation family of systems and you really have a connection to Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, God of War, Uncharted, then you may have some PlayStation loyalty because you want those franchises and you like them more than you do Mario, Donkey Kong, Star Fox, Pikmin. And that's okay. So maybe because of those third parties that Sony has a lot of, and those first party exclusives that you hope Sony taps into, which they don't always, each of those franchises, maybe Sony's your base platform. Maybe Xbox is your base platform because, well, even though Microsoft has shown otherwise this gen, you grew up and you love Halo and Gears of War and Perfect Dark, and you have this hope that Microsoft will bring them exclusively. But that's not the case anymore. So maybe the modern day Xbox fan is like, I just really see a value in Game Pass and having, no, it's not cheap, but for the total price that you pay throughout the year, you are getting a rental like experience of more games than you would be able to buy individually, and maybe that's for you. But I think that the Nintendo Switch 2 is the most compelling way to go because it's got quite a bit of the third party representation that the other two have and that exclusive Nintendo nature that is undeniably awesome. I can't help but say, dang, that's lead platform written all over it, CBH for God 76. What's up? What's up, CBH? Corny Puddle, hello. Malachi, yes, I mean, do you think it hit 500,000 just on the Switch 2 so far? I wouldn't be surprised if on the Nintendo Switch 2, yeah, it's above 500K. Confidently, I would say above 500K because I believe that number one, the game is probably faring a little bit better in the West than in Japan. So the multiplier of, all right, we look at Japan's sales combined. We know that worldwide is at 5 million. I would say that, yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game is probably sitting around 600 to 900,000. I don't know. It might be a little bit ambitious to say 1 million on Nintendo Switch 2, but you know what? It could be upwards of 1 million. Maybe that is not too unimaginable. If it occupied, after all, 1/5 of the sales in Japan, 1/5 of the global sales would be 1 million out of 5, right? So I'm saying minimum 600, maybe 6 to 9, a million I could see best case scenario. Roger Enyart, speaking of best case scenarios, says, Happy Thursday, Paul Gale Network and fam. Big thank you, Roger, kicking us off here with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And welcome to the stream. We got to get you green today. Boom. There we go. As you can all see right here, today is March 5th, 27 days until the release of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. The date that we were all waiting for. I don't know about all of us, but less than 4 weeks to go. Less than 4 weeks ago to the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And that's really cool. Can't believe it's coming up so soon now, you know? 3 years ago, the Super Mario Brothers movie came out and was an amazing success. Just how fun it was, but also how well it did in the box office. I think we're going to get one of the biggest opening movies, in particular for an animated film of all time. Gosh, actually, you know what? While I'm saying this, let me look up. Let me look up upcoming films and see if the Super Mario Galaxy movie is already available for like a pre-purchase or something like that. Is it yet? No, not yet. Hold on, there's one more way to go coming soon this way. This is a day one movie for me. Or it's a day negative one, you know, like if theaters have, which they will probably, if theaters have a March 31st, you know, Tuesday night availability. Heck yeah, I'm going the night before. I'm going the afternoon before. I will be there, like I said, day 0, day -1 for this thing. Is that the Super Mario Galaxy cereal box? Yes, it is. That's the imagery that I used for today's countdown. Okay, good. That's exciting. T. Fernbach, Paul, are you expecting a general direct anytime soon? I know we all hope for one, but I think we're fine either way. I think we're getting one by April 30th. Yeah, I think so. Just on past history, Nintendo typically does one in the first third of the year. They already kind of did. They already got themselves covered. They had a partner. They had a partner in a Mario movie one. And this treehouse for a pair of games in Wonder and Pokopia, right? And they had a indie world, you know? And they had this like little showcase on Mario Tennis Fever. So, oh, and a Pokemon Presents. But like, dude, they already did enough, for crying out loud. But I still think due to June being almost halfway in the year to not know the release dates of certain titles like Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, the next Rhythm Heaven, Professor Layton, Splatoon Raiders, and the Duskbloods. I think it's a little bit too late to go 5 months without knowing the release dates of those 5 games, because I kind of expect that at least one of those games is going to come out before June 30th, you know? And would you really have a direct all the way until like June 12th to be like, all right, Yoshi the Mysterious Book out in 2 weeks, or Rhythm Heaven coming out in 2 weeks, unless if all 5 of those games are coming out in the second half, including Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. So it's like 6 titles. That doesn't seem the most likely to me. I think by April 30th, you have this general direct. That way, a couple of those 6 games could come out maybe in May, in late June, in August, in October, in November, in December. One more announcement of a surprise. Ta-da! Boom. But definitely, if it's like May 1st and we didn't have a general direct, then I'm like, I guess they're just going to have a big one June 30th. Maybe what will help something like Yoshi and the Mysterious Book's case is in 5 days. Perhaps on Mario Day, Nintendo has a little Mario Direct, and the 40th anniversary celebration of Mario continues with this Super Mario Direct. Maybe they don't even call it that, but something else to celebrate Mario Day, right? And that's Yoshi and the Mysterious Book arriving April 30th or May 6th. You know, give a little bit of time for the Super Mario Galaxy movie to pass, make $1 billion, and, you know, have Yoshi capitalize on the success of the film, etc. So if there is no general direct, I think it's fine, but I also see it being a little bit more than fine, because I think that Mario Day something is possible. Yeah. They might shadow drop a Yoshi trailer on Mario Day. Yeah, I could see that. Corny Puddle. I want to know more about Yoshi. I want that game so bad. Yeah. That Yoshi game, I think it looks great. Visually, I'm all up on that game's graphics. The gameplay that we've seen so far seems like it's up my alley. I mean, I like 2D platformers. I've been a big fan of the Yoshi series going back to Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Yoshi's Story, a couple of the titles in between. I think, was it Touch and Go, which was pretty fun? And then, you know, more recently, Crafted World, Woolly World. I said those opposite. Woolly World first, Crafted World second. Super good. So, yeah, sign me up for Mysterious Book. I'll definitely be getting that game. I like 2D Mario, but I like that 2D Yoshi is different than 2D Mario. You know? World of Warcraft Midnight is out. Cool, Johan Nintendo. Paladin, I wonder if they will do a demo for it like they did with Crafted World. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. We've got some pretty good games coming out. I think the biggest thing for everybody though would be, well, not for everybody, but I think one of the biggest things for everyone would be, or for many people, you know who you are, is a new 3D Mario game. If Nintendo showed it off on Mario Day and there wasn't a direct, or imagine they have a direct on Mario Day and it's this thing. Mario Day is March 10th. What if Mario Day was a direct, or Mario Day followed by 2 days later, the 2 days later being the direct? Like, what if that was what they had going on. If I'm Nintendo, I want to release things or have announcements every couple of weeks. I want to always be in the news. You know, you don't just have the direct, the partner showcase, the Pokemon presents, the Mario Day, like all boom on one Tuesday, you know? It's too much. Indie World, everything crammed in there, even like 2, 3 days. You want to have it once every few weeks. Spread the joy. Couple of weeks go by, bam, Nintendo's in the news. 3 weeks go by, bam, Nintendo's in the news. A month goes by, boom. Another month goes by, boom. Here's a game release. Here's a third-party release. Here's a surprise shadow drop. Here's a Lego thing. Here's a movie. Here's a treehouse. Here's another game. Here's another direct. Here's another small announcement. Here's a Super Nintendo World update. Like, bam, 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 bam. Always, always in the news. That's the makings of a strong business. So, I think they've largely achieved that. Imagine if they throw a curveball and just dropped Yoshi Woolly World Deluxe for Switch first. That would be good. You know what? Let's see. Something that's possible is like a let's say Mysterious Book isn't ready until like August. Like that's just the time frame that the developers need for the game. And there is going to be a 3D Mario game for this November. That is their plan. What would be cool is, you know, an announcement on Mario Day that available now digitally is, you know, Yoshi's Woolly World, and coming April 30th or May 5th or something like that is the physical release. Something like that would be pretty sweet, gotta admit. Would be pretty freaking cool. And we're bringing back the Yoshi Woolly World amiibo. Right? How is that for fun? Bring back a couple of the Yoshi Woolly World amiibo. Maybe the Mega Yarn Yoshi. Maybe Poochie and stuff like that too. The different colors. Pink, light blue, and green. Maybe you have a movie skin as part of this deluxe version that you could play as, you know, movie Yoshi. And there you've got a Yoshi game in April, May, the big new Yoshi game in August, in which by that time, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is like a 1.5 billion film, is now out on 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, digital, to help propel the sales of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. And then you've got the big Mario Galaxy 3, Mario Odyssey 2, new Super Mario whatever 3D game for November. I love it. Will Nintendo announce Mario Sunshine NSO on Mario Day? Well, that could happen. It's a possibility. We do have access to Super Mario Sunshine already, but that was a part of a limited time, 3D All-Stars package. Unlike Galaxy that came out later on with Galaxy 2, Sunshine, is only a part of that, trilogy pack. So maybe that'd be a fine addition for Mario Day. We'll see. Steak is here. What's up, Steak? Steak 1024 in the house. All right, everyone. Should we go over the Famitsu sales now? With 24 people watching, with 17 likes, There are a good amount of you in the chat. Usually we don't go over the sales data too early because maybe somebody else shows up. Our membership is looking good. 467. We are 33 away from 500. Our subscriptions are looking good. We just recently hit another 100 mark, 8,700. So less than 300 away from 9,000. That's going to be a pretty cool celebration. I think if we hit something cool like 900 subscribers, 600 members, something at the same time, somehow those line up, I've got to do like a special giveaway. 9,000 subscribers, 600 members existing at the same time, even if it's for that day. That day, something special gotta do. You know? But even if not, every day is a special day because every day that we get to talk gaming is neat and fun. And thank you all for being here. I'll read a couple last pieces of chat and then I'm going to open up the sales. Oh, if not 3D Mario this year, a Luigi's Mansion 4 would be a nice surprise, yeah. Famitsu sales data, let's go. My bad, I had a phone call. Yes, I have Street Fighter 6. Okay, cool. Oh, that's okay. Good. Alrighty, let's go into the sales. These are the top 10 best-selling games of the week in Japan, with number 1 being Resident Evil Requiem on PlayStation 5, which did 155,373. In second, Resident Evil Requiem on Nintendo Switch 2, which did 38,793. In third, Tokyo Extreme Racer on PS5 did 17,669. In fourth, Mario Tennis Fever with not a bad drop, only 17% decline, and it moved 12,106. In fifth, Mario Kart World on Nintendo Switch 2, which did 10,847 copies. Solid top 5, all 5 of them above 10K. In sixth, Tales of Berseria Remastered on Nintendo Switch, which did 9,798. A new title for the week also. So pretty good. In seventh, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined on Nintendo Switch, moving 9,640. In eighth, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined on Nintendo Switch 2, which did 8,748. So you're looking at a nice 18,000 plus combined. Pretty good. Hey, hanging in there, actually. It's solid. In ninth, Animal Crossing New Horizons on Nintendo Switch, which did 6,429. And in 10th, Animal Crossing New Horizons on Nintendo Switch 2, the NS2 edition, which did 5,950. 12,400 something. Pretty solid. You know, we had a few new entries on this week, like Tokyo Extreme Racer, and as I mentioned, Tales and Resident Evil. In Japan, at least, between these two versions of the PS5 and Nintendo Switch version, you have 80% occupancy going to PS5 and 20% going to Nintendo Switch 2. We don't know digitally, but let's just go with, comparable still, right? It's pretty good. You're looking at like 194,000 physical. Maybe with digital, you're looking at like 380K or something like that. Could be a little more. Maybe it's 400. Could be a little less. Could be 360. Something like that. But pretty good. It's a solid debut. My estimation is 600 to 900,000 globally for the Nintendo Switch 2 version of RE Requiem. Maybe 1 million at tops, but I'm not calling it that. I think 6 to 900K is the range of where Requiem is at now on NS2. That's good. Stake 1024, Paul Gale Network. Over 9,000? Yes. Mixing it up. Oh, okay. I see. You're talking to Paladin. But good comment on Luigi's Mansion 4. And welcome too. Speaking of Paladin, that interesting that DQ7 on NS2 seems to have better legs in Japan. Yeah. The legs are hanging in there. We'll see as the weeks go on, with Nintendo Switch versions selling more, but dropping a little more. Nintendo Switch 2 version maybe will, make the difference a little bit and be the leading SKU in the end. We'll see. Paul, wouldn't it be called Biohazard in Japan? Yes. However, it's possible that Capcom released this game in Japan as Resident Evil Requiem. And hello too. Mixing it up. You're talking to me too. Thank you. I'm pretty sure that in Japan they would still have called it, Biohazard. I don't know if the box says Biohazard Requiem. I could see some boxes say indeed Biohazard Requiem. I'm not 100% on that though. But yeah, Resident Evil Requiem. Awesome game. Yeah, early in October would be good for Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, as cool as it is to have it on October 31st, like, wow, it's my Halloween game. Kind of like, I think, which one? Was it Bayonetta 2 or Bayonetta 3 that released on Halloween, or very close to it? You do get away from the stampede of early to mid-November games that are just non-stop by releasing earlier in October to take advantage of the whole month until things slow down for that game because of the November release of those other big titles, So that's a thing too. That would be incredibly interesting if they named it Resident Evil in Japan. Yeah. It would signify a huge increase in Western influence. Yeah. I've seen a couple of box arts that say Biohazard Requiem, so I don't deny that probably is the case. But at least in this chart from Famitsu, as is presented by Chris1964 from the Install Base forums, Resident Evil Requiem. I don't know. Are they counting the Generation Pack as something separate? Yes, they are. So the Generation Pack is not on here, which means the Generation Pack must have sold not enough to chart, if I'm not mistaken. Huddy40 is here. Yo, Paul. Yo, Huddy, what's up? Well, we will have total confirmation on that question later today, if I'm not mistaken, no later than tomorrow, when the Famitsu sales chart updates to the top 30. If if the top 30 shows... sorry. Talking a lot. Not enough water. If the top 30 shows up, and there you see towards the bottom, or whatever, is Generation Pack for Nintendo Switch 2, Generation Pack, at number 29 with, 1,000 units. Like, okay, then we got it. But yeah, we'll see. If it's not there at all, then something's going on. Mixing It Up says, I pre-ordered that pack, but canceled because of late delivery. I wanted to play. Oh, man. Dang it. I don't blame you, I guess. I mean, you wanted to play. Well, how long did you have to wait? How long did you have to wait Mixing It Up? Are we talking like 2 days? Or a week or two? 2 weeks. If you had to wait 2 weeks, I would say, all right, you bought it early, fine. 1 week, oof, yeah. Especially if you don't want to get spoiled and you're online a lot. Okay, you bought it early. But if you only had to wait one day, oh, come on, man, you could have waited a day. Just kidding, it's okay. My copy actually came one day late. I was supposed to get it Thursday, the Generation Pack, and the Generation Pack came in Friday, like morning, early afternoon. So, yeah. Oh no, I'm correct with the day wait, but it was supposed to come Friday, and I got it Saturday. I think that's it. Whatever. I got it one day later in my possession, anyhow. Let's see. By the way, dang, we got up to 32 watching now. Did we hit 20 likes also? Hold on a second. I like these little updates. 32 watching, 22 likes. Let's go. That's nice. I pre-ordered on October 31st, 2025, so quite a ways in advance. Delivery wasn't gonna come until March 19th. Ugh. Okay, I don't blame you. Woo! You had to get that thing early. I understand now. That thing was a 27th release date. So you're looking at 3 weeks. 2 weeks and 6 days you would have to wait. No, thank you. I understand. I understand. You can't wait 3 weeks? No. Too long. Not with this kind of game. This kind of game is super cool. You want to join the hype that everyone's experiencing, you know? Sketches of Harmony is here. Hey, Paul and crew. Hey, Sketches. Welcome. When my pre-order said it was delayed, Best Buy was saying that they would be attempting to get it to be by March 13th. Oh, that's another painful one. That's a 15-day wait. That's 2 weeks in a day. Oh. Yeah. We need our Resident Evil now, darn it, you know? Okay. Yeah, I didn't want it spoiled, yeah. Ash Gaming is here, hi, and the stream has been shared on Twitter. Thank you, Ash. You know what? Let's go over X right now. Here is Ash. Boom, boom. I'm gonna say live right here, picture in picture. Boom. Thanks, Ash. Very cool, very cool. What else we got going on here? Anything big, new in the world of Axe? We do have this from yesterday.
Got away.
Hold on, let me rewind.
At least I have the last. Got away. But at least I have the last Chronoceptor piece to let everyone know that today in gaming history, March 4th, 1997, Turok Dinosaur Hunter launched for the Nintendo 64 in Europe and North America.
That was kind of fun. That was pretty fun to do. The pose I did was to like recreate the box art, which I did really quick, holding back right here, dinosaur, knife, cartridge, knife. So that was the reason for that dynamic kind of entrance. And then, you know, carrying on with gaming history. In a jungle. A lot of jungle, well, I don't want to say a lot of jungle games, but we've had a few jungle themes in the last like month and a half, right? We've had Disney's Tarzan, Curious George, and Turok Dinosaur Hunter. It's kind of funny. They updated 3 hours later. It was ready for pickup. Good, good. Let me see. We're going to get into the sales data for hardware. Sorry, yeah, for hardware soon. But going off of the conversation earlier, maybe you could help me out with what do you think would be cool? I want to have this 9,000 subscriber, 600 member goal be a certain celebration giveaway of some sort. It would be kind of tough to predict, maybe not too tough, but when might that happen? When could it happen? And what game would come out around that time to find out this is how we could celebrate that launch by doing a giveaway or something like that. And in the meantime, though, want to share a fun Pokemon Gen 10 image I made? Heck yeah, of course! Sketches of Harmony. First of all, thank you for the £2. That's like $3, right? I think I'm gonna call it 3. I think it's 3. We'll call it 3. 5. Sketches of Harmony with the I think £2 is like $3. That's what I'm gonna put it as anyhow. Thank you, Sketches. And yeah, I'll send it to you. You sent it to me on X. Let me go open that up. Peach and Mario Q&A for 9,000 subs. That's a good idea. Big Man Bick. What's up, PGN in chat? Didn't mean to interrupt. No hurry. No hurry at all. Oh, that's pretty funny. That's pretty good. Let me see. How am I gonna, let's see. How am I gonna do that? Boom. Can I open it up like this? Yeah. I can't open it up like that. How do I show? I can't pull that over there. Hold on. I wanna. I'm figuring out how do I share that. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, this works. Not the most ideal way, but it's the only way I could do it at the moment. So Sketches of Harmony just shared this, and it's pretty funny. It's good art. I'm trying to show off all of it, but I kind of can't. Did you draw this? Nice art if you drew it. It's good. Y'all can't see. Oh, there you go. So this is the way I had to do it, unfortunately. I had the image saved, but see, I only have this much like viewing angle to show what's on the screen. But Pokemon bottom. Pokemon bikini. That's cute. It's good. I have a Gemini Plus trial, so been having fun with it. That's cool. Hey, that's really good. Yeah. It is good. Which one do y'all like the most? Water Starter, SpongeBob, Fire Starter, Patrick, Grass Starter, Squidward. No, haha, it was AI tools. and some further editing. That's cool. Thank you for sharing. Thank you again for the super chat too. I appreciate it. Mm, let's see. Okay. Oh, here. I really like Gekwa. Yeah. There's some solid starters. I like all three that they showed off. I'm very curious how they're going to evolve, you know? Because you never know if Nintendo, or Game Freak, I should say, is going to make, the flying type be constantly flying, floating and stuff, or standing on two legs. Will they have hands, claws, and wings, or only wings to clasp onto things? Firestarter, you're going to be a big four-legged dog like one of the three legendary dogs or Sword and Shield's big dogs, or you're going to be like this bipedal creature like Litten turned out to be, For water, you're going to have a tail, be serpent-like, be on all fours like Marsh Stomp, or you're going to become bipedal like Blastoise. You're going to be big heavy hitter, chunky, muscular, or you're going to be sleek and slender and ninja-like. You're going to have a silly face, some weird thing going on, or you're going to go for cool or cute. Lots of possibilities, I'm creative but can't draw, only abstract stuff. I'm really hoping Pombon stays on four legs. Will Max 11 says hello, hello. Yeah. Good thoughts, good thoughts. Let's get into hardware sales. Hardware sales. Interesting. Especially given how Resident Evil Requiem debuted and that, even in third place was another PS5 title, you would expect some increased PS5 sales, also Nintendo Switch 2 sales, but which system improved by more with Requiem selling more on PS5? Well, hardware's a little bit of a different story. The best-selling console of the week in Japan was still Nintendo Switch 2, which moved 85,830 copies. That's up 25,500 copies from last week. Quite a big jump. Nintendo Switch was still the second best-selling console of the week, it doing 22,260 without a major release. Animal Crossing, as you could see over here. Dragon Quest 7 reimagined over there. It only dropped 6,200 from the previous week. It's almost at 200,000 for the year. And the year is only 2 months old in Japan alone. You're looking at still possibly doing 1.5 million in Japan for the calendar year. You just add this to the total and you could see how slowly but surely Nintendo Switch is crawling to 160 million. I'm still standing by summer 2027. It hits 160. If I'm off, I don't think I'm going to be off by much. Maybe it'll go to holiday, but as long as Nintendo doesn't cease production, it will do it. In third, and this is what I was talking about, despite Requiem selling most on PS5, it didn't affect the hardware sales as dramatically. Technically, it went up by a greater percentage. It went from 10,000 to 15,000, so it's up 5. But 15,000 PS5s is far below Nintendo Switch 2's 85,000. It's a decent amount below Nintendo Switch's 22,000. But it is what it is. Xbox Series dropped to 648, down from 1188, and PS4 did 35, comparable to the former week's 37. Well, I don't have the dopamine to get consistent technique to be more accurate. J Biggs, Mr. and White for Life Hey, Gale versus Peeps. I could see Brout ending up on two legs like Torchic to Blaziken or Rowlet to Decidueye. Like Torchic to Blaziken. Got it. Or Rowlet to Decidueye. Yeah? Maybe. Kina, Bridge of Spirits. Yeah, Artisan James. That's a good point. You know what? Do we have a trailer? I saw it today. I saw it up today. Okay, we do have a trailer. So this trailer is being played off of Stealth 40K's X channel. But that's another good announcement. Yeah. We'll play it in just a moment. Paladin says, I wonder if Switch 2 got a small boost last week because of the Pokopia excitement. Well, there is the possibility of Nintendo Switch 2 getting a little boost because of Pokemon Pokopia coming out next week, which is today. But I gotta give some credit to Resident Evil Requiem. You know, a new game comes out in parallel with the system selling more. Some of that has to be from the game. Some of it could be in advance of another game, though, which would be like, a couple weeks apart or a week apart, whatever. But, yeah. That makes me really curious. How is Pokemon Pokopia going to do? Is it going to be like some kind of 500,000 opening debut? Is that too ambitious? Are we looking at, no, like 190K, which is still hecka good? I don't know. Very curious. One more time for new people in here. This piece of artwork was shared earlier by Sketches of Harmony, having Pokemon Bikini and Pokemon Bottom. Pretty funny take. Thank you, Sketches of Harmony. Thank you, Roger Enyart 2066, for the generous 2 donations from each of you, bringing our stream total to 5 today. Thank you, everybody in chat, for being here, for hitting that like button. We've got 25 people watching now, and a total of 27 likes. Awesome. When the likes top the amount of viewers, I gotta say, it's a pretty cool thing. I always think it's fun. So thank you for being here and contributing. Artwork. Yeah, it's okay. All right, let's push play on Kina, Bridge of Spirits.
Hi.
Pretty good quality footage on Nintendo Switch 2, don't you agree? I'm sure someone will go back and compare Kina on PS4, PS5, like Epic Game Store, Steam, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and say, okay, this Kina trailer on Nintendo Switch 2 is running better than these versions, comparable to this version, a little bit below this one, but overall, good looking game from within the last 5 years, also coming to Nintendo Switch 2. What was next on the agenda? I'll tell you what's next on the agenda. I'm going to get a little bit of water, but I'll be right back, okay? Do I have something to play? I don't off the top of my head. I don't off the top of my head. So, you know what? I'll just be right back in a moment. I'm going to get some water and we'll talk some more. Okay, 1 second. Thank you all for being here and for waiting. See you in a sec. Hope I didn't make you all wait too long. With my throat having a little bit of a tickle earlier, I'm like, I'm a little parched. Need some water sometimes, you know. Chair stream, yeah, for a little bit. I think that's about it that I wanted to cover today. We had our Kina trailer, which looks good. I'm impressed. Doesn't have a release date, but it has, you know, the fact that, hey, it's coming 2026. Went over Resident Evil sales. Globally, 5 million, really good. Went over Famitsu sales. I think I saw a question earlier that I got to, but I don't think I got to a second time because I think somebody else asked, what do I think Nintendo's... Maybe I answered it twice. I don't know. I'll just say it again, just in case, because I don't want to leave anybody hanging. But the question was, how is... Or where do I see Nintendo Switch 2's total sales of Resident Evil Requiem? I said that weird. How many copies of Resident Evil Requiem sold on Nintendo Switch 2? Whatever, I don't know why. Brain fart. I think upwards of 1 million. I'm not saying I'm super confident that it sold 1 million on NS2, but I think the range is like 600 to 900K, and anything above 900K is a little bit over optimistic, but of the 5 million, I don't think it did less than 600,000 on Nintendo Switch 2, and that it's quite possible that it's upwards of 900,000. Like I said, maybe 1 million if we're lucky. But yeah. I know what I'll do. Sometimes it's nice to plug, help out someone else in the community.
Well, hello, Paul Gale. What are you doing, sir? How is your Thursday going? And are you streaming? Am I missing a Paul Gale stream? Shame on me. He probably is streaming, guys, and I'm missing it completely.
If anybody is curious,
sure is.
Tabby Cat Games, member of this channel, is currently streaming some playing of The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom on her YouTube channel. So you can see that she is reacting to my comments going on her channel of, oh, you know, like, you're streaming too? Picture in picture?
Gaming
Yeah.
Desert. Too funny. So for everybody streaming my channels, Gale Network on YouTube. Sometimes he also streams to TikTok, I think. I don't have his information for that one though, sorry. But give him a holler, give him a shout out, give him a subscribe if you like.
Something else. So I think we're going to wrap up the stream soon, folks. But I wanted to give Tabby Cat Games a little bit of a help out there, a little boost. But also, speaking of a little bit of help or boost.
And I'm tuning in, so I will be lurking.
Before we go,
Gale channel.
I have asked this once in a while, and that is, if you have any hype points that you have still for the week, any likes, if you don't mind hitting that hype button, liking the following pinned video. This is something that I made a while ago, like 4 months ago. And, you know, I'm appreciative of whatever views that I get on YouTube, X, whatever. Sometimes something hits well and you got 100,000 views. Sometimes it doesn't hit that well and you've got like 35. Trust me, I've seen it all. Things that I thought would do well, do pretty well, like 1,000. Other times, just a couple hundred. I'm grateful for all of it, though. Not to be presumptuous, but certain things you think, this is going to hit. This is going to be one of the higher things, right? I did a fun voice acting recreation of all original 151 Pokemon, and it's got 260 views. And I'm like, not to be egotistical or anything like that, I just thought, man, this thing is going to be like a 1,000 plus one. It's kind of cool. It's unique. It's a lot of different voice work. So I have this hope that maybe one day this one will get a new bump and a new tail, new legs. With your help, maybe it'll happen. If you have any hypes for the week and don't mind triple hyping it, liking, commenting on it, I'd sure appreciate it. If not, that's okay. So I have a couple of links that I dropped in the chat. You know, one is Tabby Cat Games's, and one is mine. Hers is the stream and the first link. The second link is this one right here of me voice acting the Pokemon. If you don't mind liking it, hyping it, that'd be cool. You're welcome, Tabby Cat Games, for the boost. A little bit of Pokemon Legends ZA post-game, but trying to figure out where to start. Oh, regarding what you're playing. Cool. Sketches of Harmony with a nice Michael DeSanta emoji. Sketches, I don't think this one can be hyped. It's not showing the button for me. Anyway, I'll like and comment, though. It's not showing a hype. What in the heck? It should. Darn it. It should. Well, that's okay. If it doesn't, I guess it doesn't. But thanks for trying. I appreciate it. All right. We hit our Nintendo 64 minutes. That was a fun stream. We're hanging in there on total members. 467 is close to 500. Who knows what our base will be, but we're looking strong. Good conversation today. Good people in here today, as always. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a nice rest of your evening. Wherever you're watching, you know, could be nighttime if you're in Europe, right? It could be tomorrow if you're in Japan or Australia. See, it's not a short, though. It's vertical like a short, but it's a video because it's over 3 minutes long. That's one of the things I found out. You cannot have a short that is longer than 3 minutes. They won't consider it a short. Vertical or horizontal, nothing like that. So I don't really know. Actually, one little question. Can anybody hype this? I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, but for anybody that is willing to try, can you confirm whether you do or do not have the ability to hype this video? Because that would be at least kind of telling to me if it can be done. I don't know. Like Sketches of Harmony says, he doesn't see the ability to hype it, and that might be the case. Because yeah, you cannot hype shorts. You can hype videos, but maybe not this video. That'd be kind of lame, man. That would be lame. You know, dang it, trying to get this video some traction. I don't know. Oh well. Pinned to my stream. Let's get you some likes. Thank you, Tabby Cat Games. I appreciate it. I hope the rest of your stream goes well. Folks, if you want to watch some Zelda, oh, it says only first 7 days. You could only hype something for the first 7 days of a video's life. Oh, there goes the chance. Good to know. Thank you. There goes the chance at, building up hype long run. Doesn't work that way. I guess likes go on indefinitely. So if there's ever like a surge of likes, what would be cool? You know how sometimes the PGN lives have upwards of 82, 83 people? Like I think that was like the peak, kind of 88 maybe. One of those streams. Hey everybody, real quick, 80 people in here. Hit that like button on this video, drop a comment on this video, share the link to this video with at least one friend, and bam, we get to like 160 likes and 160 comments out of nowhere, which is almost as many videos, almost the 260 that was watched lifetime would be like, bam, jumped up from 260 to 420 in one night. Boom! Would that be enough to bloop, build it up? Pop up on the radar, make a little blip so folks would see it. I don't know. I just want this one to hit 1,000. Man, is that too much to ask YouTube? How come YouTube didn't promote this? It's a tricky game, But as long as and like I tell everyone else the same thing that I take myself. As long as you're having fun, then you can't be too concerned about like this video being successful or not. Look. I did this Breath of the Wild. Can I pull it up now or is it too late? It might be too late. I pulled up the Breath of the Wild short from a few days ago. And it was fun. And I put in a good amount of effort into it.
Gen 1.
And it did pretty well, but
I sent a Gen 1
not
Pokemon.
as much.
Today in gaming history, February 5th.
It didn't do as well as it would have respective to the effort, right? But it's just a weird thing YouTube is sometimes. Turok Dinosaur Hunter yesterday did 1,000. Simple video, fun. Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild, far more effort into the video. Not to say like I slaved over this thing for hours and hours and it took a production crew. No, I'm just having fun. That's the key point though, fun. But I did spend more time filming more shots, getting more music, editing it together better, and having a longer piece. They each did 1,000. Mario Kart, in this shot of the countdown to the movie, 1,800. YouTube is all over the place. It really is. But like I tell everyone, it's my own advice I take. As long as you're enjoying it, then that's good. Because if you are only doing it for the likes and the views and you're not getting it and you don't have fun making it, you're in the wrong field, unfortunately. Or if reliant on the happiness is the success of the videos, then you're also probably not going to do that well. But if you're having fun, it's cool. I think we all want to see the fruits of our labor, though, to an extent. Look at this! One of the biggest games of all time, Pokemon. 309! 309 for Pokemon? Yet today's The Pokemon Presents 1,500. All over the place. But the joy in realizing your ideas is always worthwhile. True. Yeah. Yeah. All good though, all fun. This is a lot of variety on the channel, and hopefully, entertainment, right? All right. I said we were going to end a little bit ago. We went a little bit longer, but that's okay. Pleasure to speak to you all as always. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day. Like I said before, I'll be back on tomorrow morning, probably for another PGN Live, and then tomorrow evening, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time for the podcast. Alrighty. Take it easy. Oh, one last comment. Jack Dugan, 9729 says, when do you think we get RE2, 3, and 4 remakes on Switch 2? I think Halloween would be a good opportunity. Don't release them now, but 8 months after the Generation Pack, 8 months after Requiem, I think then you could do like a 2, 3, 4 trilogy. Yeah. So that's going to be my guess. I'll say October. After all, look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, July, right? And Remake, January. 6 months in between. So I think something like 8 months in between RE titles, it's possible. Don't overcrowd it, but do capitalize on this hype continuing to roll. Okie dokie. Take care, everybody.